everybody disturbed her and asked her about how did she make the baby. And finally, one old man asked her again about how did she make the baby. And Jesus started to speak when he was 2 days old. He told him that I came to the world to enlighten the way of the people, and I am the miracle of the God. So, as you see, the importance of her, it's coming from there as well. So, this is one of the only places in all around the world where Muslims and the Christians are praying together too. The second information will be about why the Christians believe that she lived in here. Maybe she died in here too. So this is a lucky area that we could find the inscriptions well about the house, about the ancient city of Ephesus. That's why we have chance to inform you well as well. According to the information in Jerusalem, before the Jesus crucified, one of the apostles, Saint John, and Virgin Mary were behind him. And he turned to Saint John and told him that this is your mother by showing Virgin Mary, and turned to Mary and told her that this is your son by showing Saint John. This is the part from Bible. So because he wanted to be sure that Saint John will protect his mother after he died. So after the crucifixion, it was very dangerous to stay in Jerusalem for Mary and the apostles. They decided to leave Jerusalem. They came to our lands. They came to Kayseri. Do you have a flight to Kayseri? No? Directly to Nevşehir Airport? Okay. So Kayseri is just 1 hour to Nevşehir, Cappadocia area. So they came there, which named as Caesarea at that time period. They met in a cave and they decided to proclaim the Christianity. It was the first place where the early Christians came, we can say. So Saint John, the apostles, whom with Jesus when he had the crucifixion, and Virgin Mary came here. Saint John knew that Ephesus was here, so Saint John brought Virgin Mary to here, but Virgin Mary never lived with Ephesians because they were pagan people at that time period. They believed different gods and goddesses at that time period. It was dangerous again to bring her into a city like that. So St. John took her to the mountain. There was no road like today. As we know, St. John built her a small house and she lived there alone. And we know she spent her last days before she died in that house. But honestly, those are still the question marks that we still try to find the right answers. If she died in here, some said they found the bones.
So from that place, after St. John's brought her, did she moved in here or did she stayed there?
There meaning the house?
This house.
Yeah, she stayed there. St. John, she was living alone. St. John was coming and taking care of her.
Okay.
Then later, it's a question mark if she died in here,
Okay.
if she just...
So there is historical evidence that she was here.
Inscriptions, historical inscriptions.
Which inscription? The Bible or the
No, they
the
just found it under the ground during the excavations.
oh the historical
inscriptions.
inscription. Got you.
Inscriptions
Okay.
they found it.
Okay.
Um,
But bottom line is she either died here or she died in that, but it's in the Turkish land. Something like
Still
that.
question mark.
Yeah, it's still
I don't
question.
want to give you wrong information.
Yeah, no, I
That's
get it.
why. Some
But that is
believe-
what they
some
think.
think she died. Some believe this thing she didn't, never died. So that's why.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's okay. I mean, that's a belief thing.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking in perspective of the history. What does history says?
What does the history say? So they get the date of 15th of August as the date that she died.
Of which year?
According to which year, not for sure.
Sure, okay.
At the beginning of 80s.
80s, okay.
I don't like to give wrong informations if I'm not sure.
No, I get it.
That's
I get
why
it.
we all know that it's the pilgrimage day for the Catholic Christian people, 15th of August. Every 15th of August, Catholic Christian people comes here to be pilgrim. It's getting very busy. So after the Ephesians became Christian, after the 3rd century AD, by the effect of St. John and St. Paul.
Okay. Who was the king of this land at that
Ephesus.
time? Ephesus, okay.
They had different emperors at that time period,
yes.
because they were Greek first and the Romans
came,
I will inform you
and then
about it later.
when St. John came, they became Christian then, right? or they were
He
Christian?
he hardly tried to
Convert.
proclaim the Christianity. Honestly,
Okay.
he had to exile to Patmos
Okay.
because a guy who was a silversmith
Sure.
who was making the icons of Artemis and
Okay.
earning money by selling them
Selling them.
heard that someone is here to proclaim another religion
Yes.
and worried to lose his job, then told everyone to not trust them.
Okay.
So I'm talking about St. John and St. Paul again.
Yeah.
Later, they exiled to Patmos.
Okay.
In the
Patmos is
cave.
it within Turkey?
Greece.
Oh, Greece.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay.
When he was in the cave, as we know,
Yeah.
Jesus appeared like an angel to him
Yes.
and told him to go back, write the letters, send it to the 7 different cities.
Okay.
So he came back to Ephesus.
Okay.
I will show you later where he wrote his last letters before he died.
Okay. But Maryam was not, alayhi salam, was not with him then at that
No,
time.
at that time period,
Yeah. It's
she
gone.
was not with him.
Gotcha.
So just because you asked, I'm explaining it
Sure.
to you because it's the part in Bible, Revelation section. I
Yeah.
don't know if you heard
No,
about
I
that.
haven't heard the Bible.
Revelation section. There is Ephesians section in
Okay.
Bible which
Okay.
describes how they came here, how they proclaim the Christianity.
Gotcha.
In the Revelation section, there are the 7 early Christian cities it mentions about because those were all the cities where St. John wrote the letters and sent it to the 7 earliest cities.
Okay. Okay.
So we can talk about the 4th century AD, the earliest church that we can show to the Christian religious groups that we take to that 7 churches tour. And there are only the physical churches to show them from that time period.
Okay.
All of the others are the
Gone,
places
destroyed.
that we go and tell them there was the earliest Christian city.
Gotcha.
So what I was talking about. So after the Ephesians became Christian after the 3rd century AD, maybe just by the chance, they came and found the inscription about Virgin Mary lived there.
Okay.
And they wanted to dedicate a church to Virgin Mary. They built the church over there, but we found only the wall and the cistern
Okay.
that you are seeing right now.
So
from the
this wall,
church.
you are talking about this wall,
Yeah,
right?
wall with the arches and the cistern in front of it. So we can move a little bit if you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
So that was the system that they kept the holy water and the rainwater too.
So there was water here, and that was the entrance of the church.
We are not sure it was the wall,
Oh, the
of
wall
but
of the
I'm
church.
not sure if it is
Okay.
the entrance.
Okay.
So later, as the last information, I can inform you about excavations or how did they find the house.
Do you remember the name of those 6 or 7 churches you said?
Of course.
Yeah.
Ephesus,
Okay.
Smyrna,
Okay.
Laodicea, Sard, Thyatira.
Okay.
What did I say? Ephesus, Laodicea, Sard, Thyatira, Philadelphia, Laodicea, and Pergamum. In Bible, as Revelation section, you can see the details too. So this was the place where they kept the holy water and the rainwater. So is the last information about how did they find the house. Because everybody was looking for the house where she lived before she died. But it was just like a miracle. It was just by a local German girl. They easily found it. It was at the beginning of 1900s.
Is this Hebrew?
Greece.
Oh, this is Greece. And top of it is what?
Yes, I know. Can be Italian or...
Okay.
Sure.
And Su Sarniki is the Turkish.
English,
And
Italian.
got you.
Can be Russian or I'm not sure.
So the ancient এটা দেওয়াল দেখা যাচ্ছে, এটা হয়তো দেওয়াল বা এন্ট্রান্স কিছু একটা ছিল। আর ওরা বলতেছে এইখানে ঈসা আলাইহিস সালামের মা মারিয়াম আলাইহিস সালাম পরে ছিল বা মারা গেছে, দে আর নট শিওর। এই 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 পিলারগুলো দেখে মনে হচ্ছে যে অ্যানশিয়েন্ট, পুরানো আমলের। তো এই হলো স্টোরি। উপরে বড় পাহাড়, এখানে শত শত বছর আগেকার খুবই ঐতিহাসিক জায়গা। ওর কথা অনুযায়ী স্ক্রিপচার না, বাট হিস্টোরিক্যাল মানে ঐতিহাসিক তথ্য অনুযায়ী যে ঈসা আলাইহিস সালামের মা সেন্ট জনের সাথে ওখান থেকে যখন পালায় আসে ঈসা আলাইহিস সালামের ক্রুসিফিকেশনের পরে, তো ওরা এইখানে প্রথমে গ্রিসে আসে, গ্রিস থেকে এখানে আসে, কারণ ওখানে পেগানরা ছিল তখনও। এখানে এসে তারপর ম্যারিজ হাউসটা বাম দিকে দেখাচ্ছে। তো এইখানে আসার পর খুব সম্ভবত এখানে মারা যান উনি। অনেকে বিশ্বাস করেন মারা যায়নি, যেটা আমরা করি না।
They rebuilt the house and they opened the house to the visitors after 1950s. So you will see the house today. You will have chance to get
This place
photos from
considered to
all
be the last home of the blessed Virgin, the mother of Jesus Christ. The facts are found in the scriptures. Saint John in his gospel tells us that Jesus, before dying on the cross, entrusted to him the care of his mother when he said, "Here is your mother," and from that hour Saint John took her to his own. The Acts of the Apostles relate how, after the death of Christ, his followers were persecuted in Jerusalem. Saint Stephen was stoned in 37 AD. Saint James was beheaded in 42 AD. And they further relate how they divided the world between them for preaching the gospel. Saint John was given Asia Minor. Now Mary had been given to his care, and with the persecutions, he probably brought her with him. The facts are confirmed historically. There are two evidences. The presence of the tomb of Saint John in Ephesus, যেটা আমরা এখানে আছি, the presence of the first basilica of the world dedicated to the Blessed Virgin. Also, the Ecumenical Council of 431 AD was held in Ephesus. In this basilica, for the definition of the dogma of the divine motherhood of Mary, the council fathers write about Nestorius. After his arrival to Ephesus were John the theologian and the Holy Virgin Mary, Mother of God. Okay. Finally, we find another oral confirmation preserved faithfully by the Orthodox villagers of Kirikians. These people were the descendants of the Christians of Ephesus. They had passed from the generation to generation, discovery of this place. In this last century, there appeared a book, The Life of the Blessed Virgin. The chapel rebuilt upon the original foundation of the house of the Blessed Virgin, and that have been determined to date back to the 1st and 4th centuries. Part of this building is of the 7th century, and the last restoration took place in 1951. Okay, excuse me. এখানে চাইনিজ ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজেও লেখা, জাপানিজ ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে লেখা, বিভিন্ন ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে লেখা। আমি এখন প্যালেসটার দিকে যাচ্ছি, অর্থাৎ টেম্পেলের দিকে।
Turkey, most of the Mother Mary statues, mosaics, frescoes.
খুবই সুন্দর, খুবই পরিষ্কার পরিচ্ছন্ন। Maryam Ana is a place of worship. A prohibited dress is required. Appropriate dress. Excuse me.